And then she was like, that's the problem with those people out there. And I said, oh, those people is never gonna be followed with something good. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to my channel. It is your girl, Simone Nicole here. Back at it again with yet another video. Today is going to be a get ready with me. My neighbors will never let me live, baby. Anyways, today is going to be a get ready with me, and I'm going to be going through my phone notes and sharing with you guys some unhinged notes from when I worked in customer service. I worked at Ulta, Walmart, and Cheesecake Factory, and it was a time to be alive. And I stumbled across these notes in my phone and I said, oh, I gotta share this. So we cackled, we laughed, we went through some trauma throughout this video. So I hope that you guys stay and watch. We talk about a lot, because if you ever work customer service, then you know that people are insane. And that is why I feel like everyone should work customer service at least once in their life, period. But I'm talking too much. I'm gonna get into the story times. And also, just as a forewarning, a lot of these are because I'm Black and I worked in the Midwest. So roll the tape. OMG, you guys are so nosy. Me acting like you guys are so nosy for me, like literally titling this something that you guys would want to click on, and then revealing all the secrets in my notes and being like, God, you guys are so nosy for being here. We're gonna start with hair. These braids are about to come out. I got these for my birthday. If you haven't seen my birthday maintenance vlog, I will link it on the screen. But these need to come out because also we have our first like modeling gig on Monday for a brand. Can I say the brand name? I don't think it's that big of a deal. Bread, the brand Bread. I actually used it in like one of my most viral TikToks ever, and I'm so excited to work with them. So the hair literally has to come out because I have to be on set with them, and also it looks very much like it needs to come out. So we're just gonna start with some leave-in conditioner at the root, and then go on with some Shine and Jam foam. Nothing new, nothing changed, nothing crazy to see here. We're getting ready to go out with the friends this weekend. We're gonna do drinking, karaoke, we're gonna do a lot. So I figured I would get ready with you guys because I haven't filmed one of these in a while, and spill some tea about the stuff that's on my phone. I was going through my phone because myself and my co-host Isabella, we just did a podcast episode over on our podcast, Swipe Talk Podcast, Where Opposites Attract. And we did an episode on phones. And for one of the segments, we went through our phones and like revealed like our most unhinged notes. And I didn't reveal these, but it reminded me that they were there because for a long time, you know, working in customer service, you just experience so many different personalities. I just started writing down a list of all of the things that like irked me, and I was going through them this morning and I was like, oh, I got to. So this is gonna be a mix between when I worked at Walmart, Cheesecake Factory, and Ulta, and I think it'll surprise y'all too. Comment right now and let me know, what place of work do you think I had the worst experience at? Let me know what you think. Okay, so the title of this note section is Times I've Almost Punched a Customer in the Face. So let's just start off with like a little pet peeve. And if you work in customer service, then you've probably experienced this one. It's the whole like, I have been waiting for so long, but then I have like a million different questions for you and a million different coupons. That's like a very, very small pet peeve, and I'm just warming us up. But I distinctly remember working at Ulta, and you know, most cashier positions, when it's not busy, you can't just stand behind the register. Like you have to be cleaning something, you have to be doing something. So that's what I was doing. So as a consequence to that, sometimes we would miss guests that were up at the front. But also, let's be clear, it's not like we were in the back having a pizza party while the guests were on the floor and no one was there. I would have been like the aisle over, or like helping another guest on the floor and like got caught with someone. All that to say, I remember I walked up and a lady was like, I've been standing here for 20 minutes. And I was like, literally, girl, no, you haven't. She then proceeded to pull out a million coupons. And that was so common, where people would complain about having to wait for so long and how they were in this big rush and they had no time to be here and blah, 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 blah. But then would like have like super complicated returns or like really, really complex situations, or a million coupons, but you want to rush me? Like I said, we starting off light. That was a little pet peeve, but that used to happen to me enough to where I wrote it down. Then, oh, next, this is one from Walmart. I was ringing this lady out. We all know what a cash register or like what a credit card payment machine looks like. So I'm ringing her out and it's time for her to pay. And if you've worked in customer service, then you know the line. Well, years ago, it used to be press green for credit or press red for debit, or like press green to continue, but you know it's green and red. Do you know that I told this woman this? She was like, what button do I press for debit? And I was like, oh, well, press the red button. And she was like, there is no red button on here. I go, no, ma'am, the red button to your, I said, your left or your right. And she was like, there is no red button on here. I come around the register and I said, the red button right there. She said, that's a pink button. And I was like, what, like 16, 17 at the time? It was an older woman, an older Black woman. So I was always been very taught to respect my elders. So I didn't want to like catch an attitude with her. That is the closest that little baby Simone has ever come to genuinely catching an attitude with someone and being like, get out of my line. Because don't piss me off. The way that I've been sitting here for 2 minutes going like this, looking in the viewfinder to see if this is so annoying for y'all. But I need to be able to see myself. What about there? Okay, are we okay with this? Hope so, because that's what we're gonna do. Brows are done. Now I wanna talk about my next man. This was at Cheesecake Factory. So this was a family, it was a white family. And also, almost all of these stories have racial undertones. I mean, because of course they do. For all of these, I was working in the Midwest. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. So I'm serving their table and we are talking about like just like life and like me being like a college grad and you know like normal stuff, because I worked at Cheesecake from the time I graduated college until I moved to Atlanta. So from the time I was 22 until I was about 24. So it was post-grad convos, and the young man sitting at the table with him, I'm pretty sure was his grandchild, and his grandchild had gone to an Ivy League, which I was really used to because the high school that I went to, Ivy Leagues were like nothing, and like parents being like, oh, my Jimmy went to Vanderbilt and Yale and blah, blah, blah. I was just like, yeah, whatever. Like I went to Ohio University. Like I went to like a regular normal school. Like I have no shame about that. I got in college education in general, and that's a privilege in and of itself. So we're talking and I was like, yeah, I got my degree in theater performance and I'm moving to Atlanta to pursue that, you know? And he was like, oh, well, my Jimmy, whatever the hell his grandson's name is, he went to Harvard. And I was like, oh, that's really nice. That's really cool. And then he was shaking his head like, yeah, blah, blah, blah. And then the grandpa goes, I think after I said like, I graduated, I got my degree, blah, blah, blah. He was like, and look where you ended up. In my head, I was like, but everyone kind of like kept talking as if he didn't say it. It just felt like not even subtle shade. It was blatant shade. But I was just like, why would you say that to me? Now, this is something small again about working at Cheesecake. If you've ever been to Cheesecake, which I'm assuming that you have, it's a very like popular place to go. You know, we have like brown bread and everyone emphasizes how good the brown bread was. And it was pretty good. So I often got requests for the brown bread only. Problem was, like I mentioned before, and this could be all I had, like I mentioned before, I worked in a predominantly white area. So a lot of the guests there were white, not all the time, but they would always call the bread the black bread. And that never sat right with me. And you know, it's not that big of a deal and I could be nitpicky, but it was also like that way that like Northwesterners speak, like that really flat affect when they speak, like they say crayon, like crayon, and like bag, or like a bagel. So when they say like, can you give me the black bread? It's just something that's this is so petty. It's so petty. Let me turn on my other light. I literally don't know if that made a difference at all, but we'll see. But that would irritate me. And let me know if I'm tripping. I can take that if I am. I probably should have organized all of these stories by job location, but I think I wrote them down in my phone, like in chronological, like time order. So this is a story from Ulta. Myself and my coworker and my friend Tia, hey Tia girl, we're both black, and we were just talking and I was bringing this customer out, but it was like work stuff. Like it wasn't like she was like, this is what I'm doing this weekend, blah, blah, blah. Like it was literally work stuff. The conversation was probably like, you know that this person isn't a good stalker, girl, I know, blah, 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 or like something innocuous. And do you know, in the middle of us talking, this lady goes, oh no, she didn't. And this lady was like 40 years old, white. We were both like, and then we just had to move on. But we were looking at each other like, be so fucking for real right now. Also, I have been loving this. The Lip Bar sent me PR and they sent me this Just a Tint face. It's a tinted moisturizer. Love it. And I like to mix it with something a little more high coverage. So I'm gonna go in with the Morphe Filter Effect foundation. Even though we haven't really been talking about makeup, I've just been putting it on. Everything that I am using will be linked in my description box, and please check out my links because it takes me forever to link everything that I used. So this one was at Ulta too, and I try to be as short as I possibly can with guests, and not short in the sense of like rude, but I mean like I just like to keep things brief because I don't want to invite conversation for many reasons, and most of which is just because I want to keep the line going. But today, or that day, I decided to talk a little too much, and that's why I went wrong. You know, I can admit where I'm wrong. So I'm ringing out this lady. She's an older white woman, and I asked her if she wants a bag, and she was like, why wouldn't I want a bag? And I was like, oh, just because you got something small, and like a lot of people that get things that are not a lot don't want a bag. And then I was like, yeah, you know, like a lot of places are actually like adding taxes to bags, or like making it like more expensive when you use a bag, you know, just it helps the environment to not have so many single-use plastics. And that's where I went wrong. I should have shut my whore mouth. So I am telling this lady this, and she goes, that makes no sense. All that stupid stuff that they say out there in California. And I was like, and then she was like, that's the problem with those people out there. And I said, oh, those people is never gonna be followed with something good. And then I don't know how she made this leap, but she goes on to talk about, I can't say this word because TikTok, wrong platform, because YouTube doesn't like this word, but it's a word that rhymes with errorist. If you're picking up what I'm putting down, she's like, yeah, it's those errorists and illegal aliens that are ruining this country. Off plastic bags. I simply asked her if she wanted a plastic bag or not, and now we're here. And I don't know how we got here, and I don't remember how I ended the conversation, but I ended the conversation in some which a way, and then she left. But it truly does not surprise me that these comments were coming out of her mouth. I just was like stunned because it came out of nowhere and from nothing. So I'm actually moving faster through these stories than I thought I would, so I'm gonna throw in another one. This is one of my favorites, and by favorites I mean like horrible. So I am working at Ulta, and if you guys know, you know, I've always been a press-on girl, and I used to wear like really long, extravagant, like really cute nails. Now it's not functional for my job. This was back at that time though, and I had on a really cute set, and I was talking to this white woman. And also, even though most people that follow me are Black or of color, let me make very clear, this is not a video of me being like all white people are horrible. Ew, I hate that I even have to make that caveat. I just feel like if you are looking at me and being like, she just wants to make it clear that all white people blah blah blah, don't leave. Actually leave. Sorry, love you, leave. Anyways, so I'm talking to this woman, and she was like, oh my God, your nails are so cute. And I was like, oh, thank you. She's a middle-aged, like giving very much housewife vibes. I was like, oh, thank you so much. And she was like, where do you get them done? I was like, oh, these are actually press-ons. And she said, press-ons? Do those last? And this was back before like press-ons like were really a thing, because now all the girls get press-ons. Gel X nails are everything, you know, like it's a lot more normalized. But at the time, my number one question I got asked was, do press-ons actually last? I was like, yeah, they last really good. It just depends on how you put them on. And we're like going back and forth, and she was like joking and kind of light, and then out of nowhere, her entire tone changes, and she goes, so they would last through anything, huh? And I was like, yeah, I do a lot in them. And she was like, do you clean in them? And I was like, yeah. And she was like, so could you come to my house and get on your hands and knees with a bucket of mop water and scrub my floors? And I was like, what? I know I've been saying to be so fucking for real, but I need you to dig really deep and be so fucking for real right now. The woman was too stunned to speak, truly. And I was like, I mean, like, yeah, I can clean in them. So what did you want me to show you? Because she wanted me, like, I was talking to her to help her find something. So I was just like, girl, what the hell do you want? And let's go find that so you can get the hell up out my face. So these last two stories, these ones are near and dear to my heart. So I'm minding my business. This one is a Cheesecake Factory, and there's a bunch of like girls at the table. They're young and they're Black, and they're like having a good time. Like they're an easy table for me. So they call me over, and the girl's looking me up and down. She was like, I have a question. And in my head, funny enough, I used to get asked a lot if my body was fake. So that's what I thought that she was gonna ask me. And some people think that's wild. Like that I'm like, yeah, like she was gonna ask me if my body was fake. I was gonna like say no, and then we were gonna go on from there. And some people would think like, wow, that's a bit invasive. You just wait. So she was like, I have a question. I was like, yeah, what's up? And she was like, have you ever had the pink before? And she like whispered it. It took me like 2 seconds to compute. And then I go, oh, you mean, have I ever had sex with a white man? So pink is in pink pee-pee. And I said, no, I have not had the pink. She goes to her friend, see, I just can't do it. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes like it just be this for me and it be that for me. And blah, blah, and I was just standing there being like, and anyone that knows me IRL knows that like I'm a pretty open book, especially with that type of stuff. I would like laugh and joke with my friends with that kind of a thing. Maybe not while I'm on the clock though, you know? I don't remember how I got myself out of that conversation, but I remember that I did. And then I went on about my day and acted as if nothing was weird at all. So there's her. So this is when I was working at Ulta. I worked as a cashier, so I had to answer the phone. So I answered the phone with my usual spiel. Thank you so much for calling Ulta Beauty. How can I help you? This man is on the other line and he's very nervous when he's talking, and he's talking like a million miles an hour. But he first asked me, do you guys do waxes? And if you've ever been to Ulta, then you know that there is a brow bar on the sales floor. Emphasis on the sales floor. And I was like, yeah, we do waxes. What type of wax are you looking to get? Do you want to do brows? Do you want to do chin? What do you want to do? And he was like, and he started to ramble, and he's like going on and on about how he has a doctor's appointment and like he needs to get his prostate checked. And I'm like, what do you mean you need to get your prostate checked? Because at this time I'm like 19, and I'm like, prostate? I was like, that's in your butt. And as I'm putting this together, I asked him, sir, are you asking for us to wax your private area, like your penis and your butt? And he was like,
yes, that's what the doctor said I needed. He said for me that I needed to get this wax, and it's going to make the procedure go a lot smoother and blah, blah, blah.
And I go, sir, we actually don't do that here. As you know, when you need something like that done, you need to go to a back room, like secluded. And he started asking me all these questions, and he's like,
well, do you know somewhere where I could get that done? And blah, 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 da, da, da.
And I was like, well, yeah, there's plenty of places that do waxes. And so I'm trying to keep it cool. But then he goes on to keep going in detail about this surgery that he needs done on his butt and how it has to be waxed clean as a whistle. And when I say I am standing there, like the phone is like out here, and I'm like, please stop talking. And I wanted to crawl out of my skin, and my managers were looking at me like, are you good? And I was like, please just hold on one moment. Just hold on one moment. Imagine me being like, sir. And then he's like,
my butthole, my prostate, the doctors need to get in there. They really need to take a look. Would you know where to go? But if I go to this place, what do you think about this?
I go, sir, we don't do that. I cannot help you. Hang up the phone. Banged on him. I couldn't do anything else. I could not do anything else. I could not help that man. There is nothing that I could do for him. And he had to go somewhere else. And it's interesting too. I'm curious to hear you guys' opinion on it, because I've told this story a few times over the years to just like people in my life. And someone was like, I wonder if he has a humiliation kink. And I was like, you kind of did it with that one. It would make sense that he has a humiliation kink, because there's no reason why you would call a beauty store that sells makeup and clearly states that they have a benefit brow bar, and then you get on the phone with an employee and she's like, yeah, we do brows and chin and lip here, and you're going on and on about your asshole. So, you know, that was cute. My drink just arrived. It looks like a wild color, but it's like 2 shots of citron vodka, a Truly, a Celsius, not the whole Truly and not the whole Celsius, and then lemon sour and a little lime. It's really good. I cannot taste the alcohol in it at all. And you know, that's actually probably not good, so. And that is gonna bring us to the end of today's video. I hope that you guys enjoyed this little get ready with me / story time. I am all dressed. I will insert a video on screen of the final version of my outfit, like me fully dressed. And if you don't follow me on TikTok, then what are you doing? Because the whole get ready with me is posted over on TikTok. Well, just to get dressed with me. And it'll probably be a YouTube short too. Yeah, I'm just everywhere. Just truly follow me everywhere. I asked y'all earlier, where do you think I had the worst experience with customers at? And the answer is Ulta. Out of all the different places, people would think like Walmart, like it had to have been horrible at Walmart. It wasn't. Because even when people were horrible, they were just like normal people, like trying to get normal things. Like if you were stealing, you were like stealing like groceries to feed yourself or your family, or like diapers for your baby. And I'm like, literally go off. But Ulta, it just comes with a certain type of clientele because there is literally nothing that we sell that is actually a necessity. And I worked in a very, very affluent suburb, and the guests made sure that I knew that I worked in a very affluent, very Caucasian suburb. And I worked at Ulta for 5 years. And I have more stories. So if y'all want me to tell more stories, I actually have a story time from when I worked at Ulta listing a lot of these things that I'll link, but I can retell them. And I have some more because I didn't read off all the notes in my phone. So let me know if you guys want to see that. Please tell me down below which stories you thought were the craziest, or share your own crazy customer service story times. I would love to hear them. And that is going to be all for today's video. Literally everyone is arriving as we speak to my home before the turn up. So it's time to go out. It's time for the girls to get active, period. So I will see you guys super duper soon in my next video, literally next week. Mwah. Bye guys.